Hey guys, welcome to Steve's Strings. Steve Girardi here. Today I'm going to be giving you a review of this Kmise, or Kmise, however you pronounce it, Okoume Tiger Flame Baritone Ukulele. I did an unboxing video of this, a couple weeks ago, and I think I'll leave the link for that up here. But if you haven't seen that one, let me give you a rundown of some of the things I covered in that one to make sure you're in the loop here. First of all, let's talk about some of the things that came with this instrument. One of them is a strap. Another is there's a bunch of guitar picks. I'm not sure what you do with that. It also comes with an Allen wrench in order to adjust the truss rod. It does come with a basic gig bag, and this is it. And in my unboxing, I commented that it's like the ones I got when I bought my last ukulele from Kmise, but I realized it's not. The last gig bag I got from Kmise, it opened all the way around, so I could open this completely. For this one here, it doesn't open all the way up, which is a little bit of a nuisance. I kind of prefer the ones that open more. Also, I'm not quite sure exactly how thick this padding is. I was thinking it was 5 millimeters, but I'm not so certain it's that thick. This one seems a little thinner than the previous one I have. I may be wrong with that, but it just doesn't seem that sturdy. But still, it does offer some padding, and it's a basic gig bag. It'll give you some protection, but not a whole lot. If you really want to protect, you probably need a hard case. The thing I do like about this, it does have two shoulder straps, and it does have a carrying handle here as well. Although it seems like the center of gravity is a little bit far forward on it. But it's a decent, basic gig bag. I have no complaints about it, other than I kind of prefer those that open up all the way. Let's get back to the instrument. If you've seen my unboxing video, you'll see that my first impressions were pretty positive of this, and those are mostly supported here. But there are a couple little issues in here that I will bring out to you so you'll know fully what's going on with this instrument. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the headstock on this. One thing I really like about this particular instrument is that it does have this slotted headstock. I just think that is classy. I mean, it's like a classical guitar. Not every ukulele has that, and I think that's a really nice feature. The Kmise label here, this is an inlay and is very nicely done. When I looked at that, I mean, it's pretty tight, no real gaps. It's just nicely done, and it's a nice feature. The tuners on this, they look like they're, I would say, generic tuners, although they look kind of like Grovers. I'm sure they're not. But that said, these turn really, really smoothly. I mean, I wish all of my ukuleles tuners turned this smoothly. I think these have like the 18-to-1 ratio or something. They're the basic, worm type tuners, but they're just smooth. I'm not sure why, but they're smooth. Again, this is an Okoume Tiger Flame laminate instrument, and it carries on that laminate on the headstock as well. It has the typical sort of C-shaped neck. It has joints here at the heel, and it has a scarf joint here at the neck, though it's basically disguised or hidden by the tuners there. I mean, very nicely done. The fretboard you're either going to like or not like. It's walnut. Some folks like a darker one. I think that would be nice, but I don't have a problem with the wood. It has these little interesting position markers. It is a whale and looks like some starfish. I'm not a big fan of these. I'm kind of more traditional, though my daughter really likes those. She thinks they're just as cute as can be. And again, I would not buy this just because of that little whale, but it's just something to think about. Something that is really nice about this is, of course, in addition to just the beautiful tiger flame, which is on the front, back, and sides, and I think that shows up pretty well there in the light. But also, they have some really nice binding. You can see here on the back, they have binding between the back and the sides. And it's not just a plain strip of binding, there's also a dark line of purfling between the binding and the side, which is really nice. That same feature is carried over here between the side and the back. Again, it's got a thin line of purfling. It has what looks like mahogany binding. And then on the face, you can see it has a sort of checkered purfling with another solid line of purfling. And that same feature is carried over here in the rosette of the sound hole. Again, very nicely done. I've looked over this instrument, with a fine-tooth comb, and I could find absolutely no finish issues. That was not true of the very first one that I bought. It had some minor finish issues. This one doesn't have any. This one is really nicely done. The quality control has obviously gone up for Kmise, so I applaud them for that. On the inside, I think you can see that there is notched kerfing on the inside. There's no mess or glue or seepage. The supporting beams that go across there, they're tucked under the purfling, so they're not going to be coming loose anytime soon. Again, here you can see where the truss rod is, which is nice. In some instruments, the truss rod is adjusted up here at the neck, which means you often have to take off the truss rod cover. So this here is right there, easily accessible, which is nice. I'm not sure if you can see inside there, but this instrument has X bracing, which is typically something you might see in like a metal string guitar. I haven't seen those in other ukuleles. But again, I'm not a luthier, so I'm not sure what the benefits or problems with that are. The bridge here looks like it's a walnut bridge. Interesting little sort of mustache shaped. It has a tie bridge and a compensated saddle. Now, you can see here where the tie bridge, where the strings come out of the tie bridge. If I look down in that slot, you can see sort of slightly the marks from the router. But I mean, very, very subtle, no big deal. I have no problems or grief with that. This is a compensated saddle, which you would think would help you with intonation. And while intonation is good on this, it's not perfect. And let's talk about that. So I went ahead and I got my tune out a bit ago, and I checked the tuning at the 0 fret, and then, at the open strings, and then at the 12th fret. And for the E and the A strings were dead on at both open tuning and also here at the 12th fret, which tells you intonation for those two is good. But for the, the B and the E string, this is a baritone. The B and the E string, they were dead on. But the D and the G string, they were slightly flat at the 12th fret. Not a lot. Just a little bit flat when they were done at the 12th fret. And so the compensated saddle, I guess, was trying to correct some of that, but didn't quite do that. So for me, I do most of my playing down here in this end of the neck, so it's not really a big issue for me. So, but again, it was a subtle thing, but not a big deal. So coming back to neck, we mentioned those position markers. They're kind of cute. They're interesting. If you like that, that's great. The nice thing is they do have position markers on the side, which I'm actually more concerned about. You can see they do have strap buttons here and here, which I do like. That's a nice feature. The one thing that I did find that's an issue about the neck is, I'm not sure if you can hear this. When I run my fingers along there, I can feel them. They're not that sharp. They're not sticking out a lot. It's subtle. I suppose in their defense, I make cigar box instruments and I fret instruments, and I picked up an instrument I made several months ago, and several months ago it was smooth as can be. And I picked it the other day and I could feel those frets a little bit. I think what happens is the wood, it just kind of slowly contracts or shrinks a little bit, and so you get a little bit of fret sprout there. It's not a problem. It's very playable right now. What I might do is come back with a little, like a sanding sponge, and a couple of passes along that edge, that little corner there, that sanding sponge is probably going to make those just as smooth as silk again. One other little thing, it's not really a flaw, it's just a little thing that I'm not keen about this particular instrument, a subtle thing, is the binding here. It has a little bit of a sharp edge to it. It's not a rounded edge, and so, in fact, you may see there on my forearm, from like just leaning up against it, because it's a bit of a sharp edge, it kind of digs into my arm a little bit. Not bad, but enough so I notice it. I think, well, if I was going to be going ahead and running the the sanding sponge along those frets, I might go ahead and run it down along here as well, just to take that very subtle edge off. The good news is this is not a gloss finish, and so if I did that, it really would not affect the finish. I'm not sure if they call this, I think it's satin, not a matte finish. I think they call it satin. But overall, the basic looks, the basic workmanship, other than those two issues of slightly kind of palpable fret edges and a little bit of an edge here, I have no issues with the build quality in this. It is really nice. I visit my local music store basically weekly to see if they have new instruments in there. And I would say that the build quality on this, from what I've seen so far, is certainly comparable to the other instruments I've seen, including Kalas, Cordobas, Lanikais, and other baritones I've seen. For the money you pay for this, good build quality. It's gone up because there were issues in the last one I saw. Now the sound. Again, this one's tuned DGBE. It sounds okay. Sustain is all right. Not the longest sustain in the world, but it's good. Let me go ahead and do a chord progression of strumming so you get a sense of the sound for this. Now, I've been thinking about the sound of this, comparing it to other instruments. I have a Macala MKB, which I would say is warmer than this. I have a Lanikai LU21, which I think is very similar in sound to this. It's a brighter kind of a sound. I think those high notes come out a little sharper than the low notes do. On my Macala, the low notes really ring out. It's a much warmer tone than this one. Again, not a bad tone, but certainly it has its own voice. From my assessment, I think this sounds better being picked versus strummed. Let me do some other strums here so you get a sense of that sound. So overall, what's my opinion? It's a nice ukulele. I mean, it's pretty. I want to pick it up and play it just because it's pretty. The sound, my experience, sound is up to the person listening to it. Like, for example, I was looking at 4 different ukuleles in the store the other day, and the most expensive one that was there, I thought had the worst sound of all 4 I was looking at. I was looking at a Lanikai with a spruce top. That one was probably the brightest and clearest tone of all of them. They had a Lanikai mahogany laminate and a Cordoba mahogany laminate, and they were very similar in tone to this one here. Slightly different voices, but very, very similar. So, if you're looking for a baritone ukulele that has some nice looks, has a decent sound, and a decent price, this is certainly one to consider. Again, Kmise sent me this and another ukulele for free. They didn't ask for a review, though I presume they were looking for that. Again, ultimately, I'd say this is a positive review. I think this instrument is certainly better quality build than the one that I purchased a while ago. I think I like the sound on that one better. It's a spruce top, a little brighter sound, a little cleaner tone. This one here, particularly when it's strummed, I wouldn't say it's a muddy tone, although I'm not really sure what that term means because people use it differently. But maybe it's a little bit echoey. That might be the phrase I'm looking for. Compared to my Macala, maybe a little echoey. But again, not bad. If this is my only instrument, I pick up and played it, I'd be quite content. So again, you look for something to consider. If you like this review, please give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews or see more of the builds that I do, please subscribe. If you have seen these before, if you have one of these, had any experience with them, I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for watching.